Hey VC, it's Jonathan, your cheap and cheerful record collector. Coming to you with another video. This is 2 in 1 day. I haven't done that recently. This is going to be a new finds video. So about 2 weeks ago, Brian from Shamrock and Records and myself took a trip down to Gloucester, Massachusetts, to a place called Mystery Train Records. We've been wanting to go there for a while, and finally we were able to coordinate our schedules so we both could get there during the week. Great store. I mean, great stuff, great prices. I bought a number of records, so we'll have to go through them. It's going to take a while, so let's get on it. First one was one Brian found, or I guess he already had it, so he told me you should have this record, and I'm glad he did. It is Ray Charles live at Newport. This recorded 1958 Newport Jazz Festival. Before he was he was big in certain areas, but he hadn't crossed over yet. And what a fantastic album. He actually plays saxophone on one of the songs on here. Does The Right Time, I Got a Woman, Talking About You, A Fool for You, just great, great stuff. On Atlantic Stereo, can't remember the label. Oh yes, the green and blue Atlantic label. Just a great, great album. Ray Charles live at Newport. So I'm really glad to have picked that one up. Another album I got, which I had been looking for a while, was Blues at Newport. This is the Newport Folk Festival. This is in 1963. Recorded live at Newport. And it features Brandon McGee and Sonny Terry, Mississippi John Hurt, John Hammond, Reverend Gary Davis, John Lee Hooker, Dave Van Ronk. Not bad. Not a bad lineup of people. Unfortunately, it's not as clean as I had hoped it would be. One side has a distinctive nick through the whole thing. You hear it clicking away, which sort of drives me nuts. It's on the Maroon Vanguard label. But still great to have it. I think they re-released this for Record Store Day a couple of years ago. Excuse me. So, Blues at Newport, 1963. Another blues album couldn't resist was Memphis Slim, Blues Portrait, who, talking about Newport, I happened to see at Newport in 1965. Memphis Slim with Willie Dixon backing him up on bass. They used to have workshops during the day at Newport. We'd pay, I think, $2.50 for the day. You'd walk in, and there was a big open field, and there were stages set all around the field. And there'd be a topical song stage, a bluegrass stage, et cetera, and there was a straight blues stage. And I went there, and Memphis Slim was playing with Willie Dixon, so that was very cool. Got to see him. This label I'd never seen before, Spectre label. Well, maybe I have seen it. Anyway, Spectre label. Memphis Slim, great jazz, blues piano player and singer. Happy to pick that up. Also, when I was there, I saw this one. This is a compilation from England, and it's Jimmy Reed. Got Me Dizzy on Charlie Records. Another great album. A lot of these I've listened to already. Some, as we get deeper in, you'll see I haven't listened to all of them yet. On the great Charlie Black label there. Very cool. Recorded 1981, I think. No, let me see. My mistake. Take it back. 1953, 55, and 64. So early recordings. Jimmy Reed, released in 81. The compilation was put together and released in 81. It has, I mean, there are, 16 songs on the album, which you don't see anymore. I listened to it the other day, and I just thought it was just fantastic. Love Jimmy Reed. Also, I was there. Here's a record that from 1968 that for some reason has eluded me all these years. And when I saw it, I was so glad to be able to pick it up. And it's the James Cotton Blues Band, recorded in 1968. produced by Barry Goldberg and Michael Bloomfield. Has horns in it, very horn-driven, but great blues albums with James Cotton. Sam Lay is on drums on that one. Turn on Your Love Light, Jelly Jelly, Feeling Good, Sweet 16, Something on Your Mind, Turn on Your Love Light. Great on Vanguard Forecast, 1968. I don't know how this album eluded me those many years, but I'm glad I finally picked it up and added it to my collection. And this one is a new, I mean, really virtually a brand new pressing. I don't know how it ended up in the used record store, but it's Junior Guitar Watson, Stressing the Strings. This is a reissue, a current reissue, virtually brand new. And this is on black vinyl? Yeah, it's on regular black vinyl on Southern Roots label. Very cool looking label. These are all the earlier songs. Don't have a date on here of when these were recorded, but I'm going to say mid-50s to mid-60s. And for some reason, someone had it, didn't like it, and turned it into the record store, the used record store, and their loss is my gain. So Junior Guitar Watson. Next one is one, I think it was last year at Record Store Day. They had a compilation of a company called Rick and Ron, New Orleans, small label out of New Orleans. It was a compilation of a lot of their records. And I got that, which I loved, because I really love that New Orleans music. And I just happened to be walking around there, and this I saw. And it says, Troubles, New Orleans Blues from the Vaults of Rick and Ron. Something I never would have picked up except for last year's Record Store Day, the Rick and Ron collection. And as a lot of people I don't know, Eddie Lang, Edgar Blanchard and the Golden Ears, Jerry Morris with Clarence Bonton Clarence Garlow's Orchestra, Jerry Morris with Clarence Bonton Garlow's Orchestra, Jimmy Rivers, Mercy Baby, and that's it. It's just great New Orleans jazz, rhythm and blues. This is a reissue 2017, I think. I'm sorry. Jacket made in Canada, Cambridge, Mass. Pressing. Don't know when it was released. There you go. Rick and Ron collection. Next one is one I've been looking for a while. Brian found it, actually, and I snatched it out of his hands because he didn't seem that interested in it. He was fine with that. He really didn't want it. And it's Waylon Jennings' Honky Tonk Heroes, which I guess is one of the first albums of the outlaw country movement. Really happy to have this. Been looking for this for a long time now. This is with Billy Joe Shaver, wrote almost all the songs on here. And Waylon Jennings sings them and plays them all. Honky Tonk Heroes, Old Five and Dimers Like Me, Low Down Freedom, Omaha, Ride Me Down Easy, Ain't No God in Mexico, We Had It All. It's just a great freaking album. One of the first of the outlaw country albums, 1973. Waylon Jennings. These are all from the same record store. I just kept buying. I couldn't resist. Things were $4.50, $5.50, $6.50. A couple of them I spent $14 to $15, but almost everything is in less than $10, and all in really good condition, except for that Newport blues album. This one, I used to have some albums by them, and I was glad to get another one by them, and it was the New Lost City Ramblers. They came out in the mid-50s, early 60s, and they were proponents of string band music, sort of old-timey music, and they were city kids. Mike Seeger's on here, who is Pete Seeger's younger brother, along with Tracy Schwartz and John Cohn. Mostly New Yorkers, and they really got into the string band music and investigating, finding out, doing a lot of research and finding the old string band music and re-recording them. And this is a great album. I haven't had a chance to listen to this one. Haven't had a chance to listen to this one yet, but I know a lot of these songs. So looking forward to that. This is 1973 on Folkways. So it's the Blue Folkways label. So if you like that old-timey string band music, they were one of the first to bring it back and bring it into the city and start doing it again. So that's the New Lost City Ramblers. Then I have some jazz albums I found. This one cost me a little more than the others, but I think it's well worth it. I was happy to grab this one. And it's Max Roach, Jazz in 3/4 Time. So it's basically a whole album of jazz, of waltzes done in jazz. A blues waltz, The Most Beautiful Girl in the World, etc. Sonny Rollins is on saxophone on this, and it's in really nice condition on MC Records. And there's MC Blue label. And just really happy to have this. Love Max Roach, one of the great jazz drummers, and a beautiful record. I'm really glad to add this to my collection. You can never have enough great jazz. So there's Max Roach, Jazz in 3/4 Time. This next one I knew nothing about, except I knew one of the artists is another jazz album, and it's called The Pentagon. Cool label. And it features Cedar Walton on piano. I happened to get to see Cedar Walton about 10 years ago before he passed away, and so glad to see him. Great jazz piano player. Also features Clifford Jordan, Billy Higgins on drums, Sam Jones on bass, and Ray Mantilla on congos. Again, haven't cleaned this one yet. Haven't had a chance to listen to it. And on the bottom it says distributed by Nautilus Recordings, Shell Beach, California. So I don't know how that ended up in New England, but there it is. And it's on EW label. Never saw this label. East Wind. Never saw that label before, but looking forward to digging into that. Next one is another jazz artist where his name has been around. They've been showing him a lot on some certain YouTube websites I subscribe to, Jazz Vinyl Lovers, etc. They've been talking a lot about him, and when I saw the record, I figured I'd give it a try. Again, I haven't cleaned it yet, so I haven't listened, but it's a guy named Dollar Brand. Guess his name is Abdullah Ibrahim, and I think he's a jazz piano player. He plays keyboards, soprano, sax, and congas. And again, haven't heard it yet. 1979, recorded 1979 in New York on Elektra, regular red Elektra label. So looking forward to digging into this when I get it cleaned up. I rarely play a record that I bought that I haven't cleaned first, unless it's a brand new pressing and something in the shrink I open up. But if I buy it even at a record store or at a fair or whatever, I always got to give it a deep cleaning before I give it a spin. All right, this next one is a record I used to have way back in the 70s when I was a young man. And my girlfriend and I at the time, we used to listen to this all the time. And it's Tracy Nelson with Mother Earth, Living with the Animals. Fantastic blues rock album. Tracy Nelson is a singer, actually on here, I guess because of contractual rights. The guitar player on a couple songs is Michael Bloomfield, spelled MakalBlumfield, which is not how he spelled his name, but I guess for contractual rights he couldn't use his full name. So he plays on guitar here, which obviously gives you an idea what it's like. Barry Goldberg is playing organ on some of the songs. But if you don't know, Tracy Nelson started off, I guess, as a folk singer and then got more into blues, and great voice. And this is a great album. I have a lot of her records. This is the one I've been looking for to complete my collection pretty much of stuff. I need her first album, which they had, her folk album, but I didn't want to spring $15 for it. Tracy Nelson, lead singer on Mother Earth, Living with the Animals. Another one, I've been looking for this for a while. Nothing I had to have, but since the price was right, and I'm a big fan of Ry Cooder. So this is Crossroads, the soundtrack to the movie Crossroads. Never saw the movie. Seemed always a little cheesy to me, but the soundtrack is fantastic. With Ry Cooder playing guitar and singing on a lot of the songs. So real happy with, Jim Keltner on drums, Terry Evans and Bobby King singing, Ry Cooder playing guitar. How bad could it be? Van Dyke Parks is on one song, it looks like here. Sonny Terry plays harmonica on a song. The soundtrack to Crossroads. And the last couple, let's see, I'll do this one next. This one I don't know, but anytime I see a record by this artist and the price is right, I always grab it. Nick Lowe, big fan of Nick Lowe. And I don't have this one, didn't have this one until today. It's a gold stamp promo, not a white label, unfortunately. But I don't know this particular one. It's called Marketplace, I guess. No, Pinker and Prouder Than Previous. Pinker and Prouder Than Previous. Nick Lowe. So looking to get that cleaned up so I can dig into it. And the next one is one I had, again, way back in the day. And it sort of got away from me, and I'm glad to add it back into the collection. And it's the first 10 Years After album. Played it the other day, and now I realize why I used to love it when it first came out in 1967 when I was 18. And I used to love this album back then, and now I know why, because it's a great album. I Want to Know, I Can't Keep From Crying, the Al Kooper song. Spoonful, which to me, I actually like their version better than Cream's version. It's more laid back, not as in your face, not as intense, and it's fantastic. Feel For Me, Love Until I Die. I'm just great album. 1967, 10 Years After. And this on Durham label. And last but not least, a record I've been looking for a long time, and a classic of the psych rock period, and it's The Seeds, and this is a mono pressing, first pressing in mono, actually third pressing in mono, from when I looked it up. It says it'd be a third press mono on GNP Crescendo. Again, not in great shape, but it's a pretty loud record. So I don't notice the clicks and pops so much because the music is pretty in your face and loud. Great garage psych. Again, probably from 67, if I don't have the date on here. Should have looked that up, but I didn't. And it has the classic Pushing Too Hard. But so glad to have The Seeds in my collection of psych pop. Okay. That's the damage I did all in one day. Spent some money, but it was worth it. Stuff I've been looking for. If you don't know Brian Shamrock and Record, definitely check his channel out. He lives nearby, and we hang out all the time and dig for records. So he has a fun channel. You should definitely check it out. And we're actually thinking about doing a series of videos together, but that's for another time. Okay, everybody. Thanks for watching. I want to thank all the new subscribers I have. I have a bunch of new subscribers recently. So I want to thank them for joining my group here. And I want to thank everybody for taking their time out of their day to watch the videos. And comments down below. I'd love to hear what you have to say. And until next time, peace.